You're listening to an Airwave Media podcast.
Sergeant and Mrs. Smith, you're going to love this house.
Is that a tub in the kitchen?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neil, and Jeff. This is Triviality.
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Ken, in the studio with Jeff. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, what's up, sir?
Online, we have the MAGA Shaman's tailor, personal tailor. Matt, what's going on?
It's hard work, but someone's got to do it.
Yeah. Did you advise him to just go with the vest and no shirt?
I think it's important to have a few staple items and then go for something that really pops.
Was he even wearing a vest? I don't know. I can't picture him now that I bring him up. But
yeah, that's unfortunate.
Got a great one today, right, Jeff?
We do indeed, Ken. And why don't you go ahead and tell us who's on today's episode?
We're just getting right to it because we're so excited. All right. Well, first of all, we have our contestant who's going to be, I think, on Matt's team, correct?
Seems right.
All right. He's an Oakland 5 supporter from Sacramento, California. Peter Harman, thank you for coming on the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
We're excited to have you on. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a wildlife biologist. I work all over the state of California, mostly checking out birds and bats, and I like to fish in my spare time and spend time outside when I'm not getting paid to. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we found out you're a man of many talents, including like gardening and cooking and biology, as it turns out.
Yeah, I am a jack of all trades and a master of none, so hopefully I can have my Slumdog moments today in the game.
Yeah, we'll see how it turns out for you. I'm sure you're going to play a great game, and to have a great game, we need a great host, and lucky for us, we have one today. Nate Lozier, welcome back to the show. You're in Austin, maybe soon to be moving to New York, but playing it by ear a little bit.
Yeah, I am playing it by ear, going wherever the wind blows me, if that's the phrase. I wouldn't say I'm a jack of all trades, still not a master of any either, though. But maybe I'll find one eventually.
Well, that's the secret when you're writing the questions, is it doesn't matter because you're just asking them. You don't have to know any of it.
Exactly. Yeah, I wish I had a cool hobby like Pete that he's got the guitars on the wall. No one can see that, but.
Yeah,
looks like he's got that Paul McCartney bass there.
I sure do.
Goes on.
He's got a lot. So he jams out too while he's in the garden, perhaps.
And
maybe that's why the plants grow so well.
Yeah,
I have a singular dresser, so we also have interesting things over here.
Yeah, Matt's living in a new place, so it kind of looks a little bit institutional right now. But
Matt, is that
we're sure he'll put some posters up soon.
Matt, is that a 12-inch plasma screen TV, babe?
Yeah, it can retract into the wall. It's amazing.
I love this TV. Well, once again, we thank Nate for coming up with the game today. And like you said, Matt and Peter are going to be teaming up today. And you had a good team name.
Yeah, so Peter was telling us a little bit about his liking of fly fishing. So we are going to be pretty fly for a fisher guy.
There we go. I think it's usually called fisherman, but that's fine. We'll say fisher guy this time. And I've discovered a new wrestler for a change. I learned something about wrestling, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Are you proud?
Very impressed. Yeah.
Yeah. I learned about a wrestler named Doink the Clown from the 90s, so we're going to be Doink the Clown? Yeah. Doink the trivia team. Doink the Clown.
I was holding out for double Doink.
But, yeah, loved finding out about Doink the Clown. Seems like it was a fun time in the 90s. Wonder what contributed to it. I don't know.
Well, there was an evil doink, so there was a doink on doink action, which would be a double doink. So
there you have it. So you got what you wished for. 2 clowns. But you know who's not a clown? Our rules presenter, Darren.
The rules of the game are simple. 20 questions split into 2 rounds worth 10 points apiece. At halftime, there'll be a special swing round designed by this week's host. After regulation, players will enter the final round with the points that they've accumulated and will have a chance to wager 0 to 30 points on 5 categorized questions. At the end of the game, someone will be named the cream of the crop.
The cream will rise at the top. Oh, yeah?
Thank you so much for that, Darren. Perfect as always. Let's jump right on into the game, Nate, whenever you're ready.
All right, let's do this. Question 1. One former American president's last words were about another former U.S. president. He said, blank still lives. Sadly, he was mistaken, as the man he was speaking of had died 5 hours earlier. Name these 2 presidents.
We can lock in.
Yeah. No, I'm going to lock in.
No, I locked in first.
Oh, that's good.
Well, I got it written down faster.
I'm a slow writer.
They're done bickering. Or if you want to share those answers with us.
We do not wish to do that.
Fair enough. That's always worth saying. Peter, do you have any ideas here?
This sounds like a fairly familiar factoid, and obviously they're dead. It's old because they're dead. But
probably not one of our live presidents.
Yeah. But I don't have any specific in on this one.
Yeah, thinking it could be maybe like William Henry Harrison, who died.
He died all right.
Yeah, he died. I think he died of illness, right? Isn't that how he died? Maybe.
Yeah.
But they're giving us too many. They wouldn't be agreeing with me if that was the correct answer. So let's move forward.
They're all dead.
Well,
mostly.
And a lot of them were illness.
Yes, fair enough. So maybe this is I guess we're just guessing 2 presidents, right?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite president?
Not in, who spoke and who had died. Just
Yeah. So Peter, who's your favorite president?
I did a book report in 7th grade on Martin Van Buren, and I don't remember anything about him except for name. So I'm going to go with him.
Yeah, and then I guess we'll go with someone who came just after him, and we'll go Andrew Jackson.
Van Buren and Jackson, classic relationship to go down in history. Yeah. We're saying that these 2 gentlemen fought a duel, shot each other, and then went to their respective homes, and they both died as a result of this duel. No, not true at all.
Although one of their VPs did shoot somebody in a duel very famously.
But no, that was all bullshit. But it was Jefferson and John Adams.
Yeah, you threw me for the loop there for a second, Ken. The correct answer is...
I'm just revising history. Don't worry. Yeah.
July 4th, 1826. Write it down. Jefferson and Adams shot each other in a duel.
I'm just trying to get under Jeff's skin.
An alternate version of the Hamilton play. And the correct answer is John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. And as Jeff said, eerily enough, it was on July 4th.
Conspiracy?
The 50th anniversary, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Simpsons predicted it.
The semi-centennial, I believe you would call it.
Right.
I wouldn't call it anything.
Well, we're approaching 250, so you got to learn what that is before then.
All right. Question 2. In the musical Guys and Dolls, the titular song laments a series of men doing silly and often ridiculous things that you, quote, can bet that he's doing it for some doll. Name any 2 of the things the men do in the song in the name of love.
So Ken, did you also recently see Guys and Dolls?
I did recently see it, very recently.
Did you also not remember?
Yeah, Guys and Dolls.
You're on.
Yeah, it's not na Guys and Dolls. You're just a bunch of crazy guys and dolls.
That's my frame of reference. So I have nothing on this too.
Yeah, me neither. I have not had the pleasure of seeing Guys and Dolls.
All right, so we got a tap from them.
Oh no, I'll say something that these guys were up to.
All right, give me a second to think about it. When you see Joe, let's say Joe spending all of his dough. When you see chum, what rhymes with chum? A guy doing something with the sky. When you see, all right, well, when you see all right, after some thought with these lyrics, I'm just making stuff up, but we're going to say, when you see a Joe spending all of his dough, and when you see a guy pluck the moon from the sky. How about that? That's pretty stupendous.
Yeah.
What did you guys have?
Where's that with the bushel and the peck and all that?
I have no idea.
Mine was when you see a man take a second mortgage out on his home, home improvements for his lawn.
Yeah, maybe in the updated version. So I'm going to be honest. I don't know how you pulled that, Ken, but within the many answers, when you see a Joe saving all of his dough, and when you see a guy reach for stars in the sky, not pluck the moon from the sky, but I'd be generous here, although I'm not the rule.
Judges?
No, be generous.
All right. Thank you, judges. We'll take the points.
Well done. All right. Question 3. This neurosurgical procedure is the only instance of neurosurgery to win a Nobel Prize.
I feel like going into this game, I must have just had this one because I'm not pulling anything.
As strange as it sounds, lobotomy came to mind.
That was I had thought of it and then it just disappeared on me. I don't know why. So I think that lobotomy is a good guess.
Yeah.
And we're going to say lobotomy as well, thanks to Jeff's quick thinking.
All right, and the correct answer is the frontal lobotomy. Well done. Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1949 to Egis Moniz for his development of the procedure, which, as of today, is slightly more controversial.
Slightly.
So he won the Nobel Prize for frontal lobotomy, whereas Viggo Mortensen won the prize for frontal nudity. For Eastern Promises.
I was going to say, is that Eastern Promises?
Oh, absolutely. And several others. But
right.
We can move on.
All right.
No, stick on the
That's
nudity.
actually where Neil is right now. He's screening he's screening Eastern Promises, but just that scene.
He's like, guys, I got to try out my new VR headset.
All right, question 4. We're coming right up to the year 2024. This foreign phenom unanimously won the NBA Rookie of the Year this year in 2024. He's the first to do so since Karl Anthony Towns in 2016.
We can lock in.
Great.
Do you know it, Jeff?
I believe so.
Peter, do you know it?
I do not. This one's on you.
He plays in San Antonio. His logo is a alien looking thing because he's a 7'10". I don't know how tall he is. Frenchman.
I think he's only 7'7"
or 7'8", but he's like so long. He's a freaky looking dude. Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, we said Wemby, Victor Wembanyama.
And you guys are both correct. It's Victor Wembanyama.
I love watching his highlight reels.
It doesn't look real. He does stuff on the court because he's so big, and he just he'll be at the free throw line and then he just dunks, and you're like, how did that happen?
he'll just grab a block out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, a 7'5" player should not be able to shoot a 3-point, cross people over, do a step back. It's just he doesn't look like someone of his height. It is bizarre.
Yeah, I think he's officially listed at 7'4", but his wingspan is every bit of 7.5.
He's only 19, so he's probably gonna grow still.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was underrating him. I thought he would be good, but
wrong. Great.
Probably game changing.
Yeah. Good for the Spurs. They've never had any success.
Yes, so question 5. This is somewhat related to presidents, but not really. Last time I was on the show, I told a story about George Washington having his blood let by his physicians during an illness, which likely ended up killing him. Does anyone happen to remember how much of his blood was let?
Lots.
It was like 30-something percent.
40%. That's correct.
40%.
Yeah.
Feels like you should keep 40% of your blood.
Fatal amount.
More recent research indicates that bloodletting is actually super bad for you. According to an NCBI study, within 3%, what percent of blood can you lose before dangerous side effects like hypothermia, acidosis, and dysrhythmias start to occur in the body?
All right, Peter, how much blood are you willing to let?
Well, I know that when you go and get it done, when you let people take your blood for good reasons, they take a pint at a time, which, I mean, feels like we're talking about the single digits of obviously percent of body blood. We know it's less than 40.
Definitely, it's not more. That's probably true.
Yeah, I'm thinking somewhere
between 1 and 40.
Yeah, exactly. Does that help narrow it down?
21.
Yeah, this is a guess, but low teens is kind of the realm that I'm thinking in.
I think 12, because that gets you 9 to 15. It seems like a good range. Any more than that seems like kind of a lot still. And
I like that. Let's go with that.
Great thinking. Jeff said 12. I said 10, so we went with 11.
All right. So very interesting answers. The answer, according to this study, is 14%. So both teams barely making it. The average person has about 5 liters of blood in their body, and 14% is about 700 milliliters. So quite a bit of blood, but not as much as George Washington lost. May he rest in peace.
All right. Well, so far, a riveting game. We're in the lead over here at Doink the Clown with 50 points. Slightly trailing behind with 30 points is Pretty Fly for a Fisher guy.
Anytime you measure blood in full liters, you're probably in trouble.
Yeah. All right, Nate, on to question 6.
All right. Question 6. The music video for Blink-182's All the Small Things parodies 11 different iconic music videos from the late 1990s. Name any 2 of these music videos.
All right. Well, we aren't super familiar with the video. We seem to have memory of at least one parody part of it. The rest is kind of a guess, so we're electing.
Okay. And Peter, you said you did not have MTV, so this is not something you're familiar with.
I don't remember this video at all.
Okay. So the video, the big parody is in the airport. That's the Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way. So I'm 100% on that one.
I remember that.
And then I think there's a Dance on the Beach scene, which is Christina Aguilera's Genie in a Bottle. There's also a 98 Degrees one, but I don't know the name of the song, where they're like wearing shirts and have candles and such, but I can't remember the name of the song. So we'll lock in with Genie in a Bottle and I Want It That Way.
Well, we certainly talked about Genie in a Bottle, but we didn't go with it. What we did go with was Hit Me Baby One More Time, which I believe is in there. And we went with another boy band, and we said Bye, Bye, Bye.
All right. Couple of great answers. One team getting points here. I'm going to just read you out the songs. Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way. Backstreet Boys, Quit Playing Games With My Heart. NSYNC, Tearing Up My Heart. 98 Degrees, Matt, I Do Cherish You.
Yeah.
Sugar Ray, Someday. Britney Spears, Sometimes. TLC, Creep. Westlife, If I Let You Go. Christina Aguilera, Genie in a Bottle. 5, If You're Getting Down. And Ricky Martin, Livin' La Vida Loca.
Wow. Very nice. So Matt and Peter taking the points on that one. No points for us, though.
No.
But either way, moving on to question 7. The film industry has a long history of taking dramatic measures to get the best performances out of actors. One of the more infamous of these is when, in the film The Birds, Alfred Hitchcock replaced the fake prop birds with real ones that had been agitated to attack Tippi Hedren without her knowledge? Similarly, what actor was infamously tortured on set by Stanley Kubrick in an attempt to get a more realistic reaction and portrayal from their character? I'll take the name of the actor or the name of the character.
Wasn't Tippi Hedren also in that Lion movie where she got like mauled? Is that accurate? I'll look that up.
They had real
Roar.
lions.
It's insane.
And she was like in a house with real lions, right?
Man, bad luck for Tippi Hedren. But we're electing.
As the thing
You would
goes.
hope that she had a better agent. Who's like, is there any live animals in this one? Like, nah, I don't think so. It's called Roar. Who knows? So we're looking for Stanley Kubrick characters. What are you thinking here?
I don't think I have gotten anything for this one. Movies and that kind of pop culture thing are a bit of a blind spot, but I might know if I heard it. I've heard the birds factoid before, so I
believe that this is the actress from The Shining, because they wanted the fear when like Jack burst through the door. They wanted to see what that actual like fear looked like. The problem is I don't know her name and I don't know her character's name.
Yeah, I can see her face too. I know she's had a rather troubled recent history.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm
So
gonna be
this
able
is
to
why
pull
we
that
play
name.
as a team usually, because I don't know. I have a general idea on these things, but sometimes when it comes to specific with actors and actresses, I'm really bad.
Yeah.
So I couldn't come up with a name. So lady from The Shining is not right, but I mean that's who we're talking about, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we think you're right with the lady from The Shining, and that is Shirley Duvall.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it Shelley Duvall?
Yeah, so technically it is.
Oh, there you go.
Duvall, Shelley Duvall, who played Wendy Torrance. And yes, unfortunately, Matt, Pete, you guys couldn't get there, but that is correct.
Well, due to my slip of the tongue, we're not taking points. Tell you
right.
what.
Okay,
Tell you what.
I'll leave that to you because I don't know if we're doing Jeopardy last name basis, but
If I had just said Duvall, I'd be safe. But because I said too much, I f***ed us, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I'm a man of integrity, so we're taking it out. We're taking out the points.
I commend you.
Thank you.
But either way, yeah, Shelley Duvall tortured on.
I do it for the praise.
Had to stay up long hours. Messed with all sorts of isolation, emotional strain. So turns out Stanley Kubrick not that great of a guy.
Yeah, they didn't tell her when the knife was going to go through the door, I guess, was like the big one. So that look on her face is real. She's really terrified.
Yeah. Great performance regardless, but kind of under sad circumstances. Question number 8. This highly influential, eccentric Hungarian mathematician published over 1,500 papers during his lifetime, which led to other mathematicians associating their co-authorship with him by degrees of separation, a la the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Ooh, I am not up on my Hungarian mathematicians, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is going to be another one for me, like the last one, where as soon as I hear it, I'll know it.
Yeah.
I remember people in grad school talking about publishing, and this number was a thing, but
But you couldn't recall the name.
No, I can't.
Oh, that's okay. We'll get one where we're like, yeah, that's 100%. I know that.
Yeah.
More questions about French NBA rookies, please, in the future,
and some more frontal lobotomy questions.
Yeah,
too.
that's what we really need. So, I think we're gonna tap on this one. We have no idea. So, John Matherson.
Jeff, Mr. Math over there.
Yep. I think this is Paul Erdos.
And that is correct. Paul Erdos, often pronounced Erdos, but famous for a number of mathematical principles, but also the Erdos or Erdos number. So someone who has an Erdos number of 1 published a paper with Paul Erdos. The number of 2 published one with someone who with someone. So degrees of separation is a common little jestful thing within the mathematician community.
There's a joking one for people who have both a Erdos number and a Bacon number. Natalie Portman is one such person who has a Bacon Erdos number.
Nice.
Of like 5 or something like that.
Great name for an indie rock band. All right, so question 9. In computer science, I love you, so big, and heartbleed are examples of what?
Computer science, not your thing either.
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah.
I don't have anything for this one.
So big and heartbleed, I think were either viruses or something to do with a bug. I think heartbleed was something in the early 2000s. I remember because my computers, because I was always on downloading things illegally on LimeWire, which is the safest way to do that. I know the safest way to get your Limp Bizkit albums at the time. You would have a lot of viruses and that kind of thing. So these sound familiar, and if you're okay with that, I think we can lock in with those.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, we think it's bad stuff too, so we're saying viruses.
And you guys are both correct. All 3 of those are computer viruses that spread across the world and caused varying from millions to billions of dollars in damages. So pretty crazy stuff.
One time I downloaded a French version of Adobe Photoshop, and it had a virus that locked my computer out and said that they needed $200 or they wouldn't do the virus. So I just bought a new computer because it was cheaper.
That's one way to fix it.
It is. All right. Question 10. In an early episode of The Simpsons, Lisa creates a perpetual motion machine, which is able to go faster and faster on its own. A disgruntled Homer replies, Lisa, in this house, we do what?
I'm 100% locked. This is something I say on a daily basis.
All right, let's go with it.
What do you have there, Jeff?
So I can't remember the exact quote, but my joke answer, if you don't have one, is abide the laws of thermodynamics.
That sounds fine.
That sounds Futurama-y more than Simpsons-y.
Yeah, but there's a lot of overlap there. It's funny. Obey the laws of physics?
Yeah, if you want to be more vague about it, yeah.
Yeah, let's say it. Obey the laws of physics.
Oh, Ken. You just talked him out of it. It's obey the law of thermodynamics.
Yep, that is correct. Walked right away from it. It is this house we obey the laws of thermodynamics.
I kind of remember him saying it now.
Well, too late now.
It's too late. That's all right.
And with that whiff, that brings us to 70 points over at Doink the Clown, Pretty Fly. Right behind us was 60 points. So, Jeff, before we continue on with this, why don't you tell us a little bit about our Patreon?
Well, Ken, what is there to say that hasn't already been said? Patreon is an easy way to support us directly monetarily for a small financial contribution. And in exchange for that, you get some pretty cool stuff, ad-free episodes.
You can cut out this very ad.
Yeah, you could.
For just $1 a month.
For $1 a month. Or if you want to go crazy, $5 a month. We got bonus episodes.
That's not that crazy. You get days and days of content.
It's true.
Literally like
yin-yang.
3+ days of straight streaming.
Mostly actually out of your computer or cell phone for that, but it's where the content comes from.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there's many more perks if you're feeling generous. Go check it out. Patreon.com/trivialitypodcast. And we appreciate it. Thanks.
And on that note, it is time for the swing round. So Nate, what do you have in store for us?
All right, Ken. I wanted to try to do something different that I don't think has been done yet. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But today's swing round is called an idiom abroad. Many idiomatic phrases are shared across different languages. The Dutch say a big fish in a small pond. Italians say throw gas on a fire. And Arabic speakers say when a cat's away, the mouse will play. On the other hand, some words and phrases have no English equivalent. The French dépaysement is a word that means a sudden sense of disorientation when going to a new country. In Icelandic, the word truno refers to some concept where apparently you're late in the evening, opened, and show your true emotions with your loved ones. I've never heard of something doing like that before as an American, but sounds interesting. So without further ado, today's spring round is going to challenge you to find the American equivalent of a foreign idiom that doesn't directly translate. So if I were to give you the French idiom, it's raining cords, you might say...
It's raining cats and dogs.
There we go. Perfect. Beautiful. Okay, these are going to be anywhere from, I think, relatively easy to a little bit more difficult, hopefully. And then one quick note, there may be multiple correct answers, as some idioms have some sort of overlap in their meaning. So we're going to go with the close enough rule. And some phrases might simply describe a specific event or feeling, not necessarily an idiomatic phrase. So
I love it. This is going to be fun.
All over the place. So, all right. Number one, and this is French, and I always try to drop it in conversation that I speak French as quickly as possible when I meet people. So they think that I'm cultured. So I'm not going to bastardize the rest of these, but I'll do this one in the original French, which is la goutte d'eau qui fait déborder le vase, which means the drop of water that made the vase overflow. Number two, Italian. You want your wine cask full and your wife drunk. Number three, Australian. Flat out like a lizard drinking. Number four, Nigeria. To have long legs. Number five, Spanish. The shrimp that falls asleep is carried by the current. Number six, Finnish. To have a chicken to pluck. Number seven, Norwegian. There are owls in the moss. Number eight, Japanese. Gold coins to cats. Number nine, German. To leave the church in the village. And number 10, Turkish. The dogs bark and the caravan goes on.
Well, I love that we get to figure these out. These sound like fun. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Here's a trivia fact for you. Do you know what is on 1 in 5 Americans' bucket lists? Learn a new language. If that's you, make 2024 the year you finally check it off the list with Babbel. If you're serious about speaking another language, what Babbel can promise you are useful language skills, along with learning the context, traditions, and culture the language you're learning is grounded in. I like to pretend to be a Dutch boy on the podcast, but with Babbel, I can actually speak to all of our Dutch listeners. And I will say, I had a great time using Babbel before going to France last year. It helped me order food for my wife. Vous avez des options sans gluten, s'il vous plaît? Not too shabby. With Babbel, you can access more than 13,000 hours of learning content. And guess what? Here's a special limited time deal for all of our listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/triviality. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/triviality, spelled BABBEL.com/triviality. Rules and restrictions may apply.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
All right, we have thought these over and also shared some of our favorite idioms, and we are back and ready to give our answers. So let's get those one more time, and we will see what we think they mean.
All right, number one, French. The drop of water that made the vase overflow.
I think that's the straw that broke the camel's back.
We agree. The straw that broke the camel's back.
That's correct. Straw that broke the camel's back. Number two is Italian. You want your wine cask full and your wife drunk.
I think that is have your cake and eat it as well.
And we agree. We said have your cake and eat it too.
You're such a pest.
Gotta be honest, I prefer the Italian on that one.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, number 3 I think is a little bit more difficult. Australia, flat out like a lizard drinking.
We just said it's another way to say that you're super, super drunk.
Yeah, we thought that this might have to do with an animal that they wouldn't be as familiar with in Australia, and it would be that they're drunk as a skunk.
All right, I know you guys got a lot of Australian listeners. I've heard them on the show before, and I'm sure a lot of them are laughing right now. No points. This phrase actually means, hopefully I'm getting this 100% correct, working hard like a lizard that lies flat on the ground to drink water quickly. So an apt analogy would be burning the candle at both ends or working the bone, something like that.
Nice.
All right.
I guess not everything in Australia is about drinking. We apologize.
right. Your stereotypes are showing. Number 4, Nigeria, to have long legs.
We said it means that you're adept at something.
And we weren't sure on this one. Going on the theme of legs and walking, we said 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah, those were both good guesses. I couldn't find the origin of this, but I just liked it so much that I thought it sounded kind of funny. It means to have friends in high places.
That makes sense. You can reach them.
Correct. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Number 5, Spanish. The shrimp that falls asleep is carried by the current.
We said that basically it's like sink or swim. Like you have to work hard to not get annihilated in this life.
We said you snooze, you lose.
Yeah, so I had those both as acceptable. You snooze, you lose. Don't let the world pass you by. Gather ye rosebuds. Make haste. All kind of acceptable ideas. Don't let the world pass you by. Hop to.
Yeah. Gather ye rosebuds is popular in the Triviality recording studio.
Yeah, I say that all the time.
Oh, why is that?
Ken's talking about his sled.
Oh, okay, got it. I think.
Yeah, when I want to get the boys out to the hill, gather ye rosebuds.
I think it's a Sylvia Plath poem, right?
You're asking the wrong group of dudes.
Neil would have known.
My head's ringing like the bell jar.
No, I'm just kidding. All right. Finish. Have a chicken to pluck.
I think I've got a chicken to pluck with Jeff right now. I said bone to pick.
That's a good one. Good
That's a good answer. We, again, played a little word association and went with don't count your eggs before they hatch.
Yeah, so one team getting credit, it is to have a bone to pick with someone.
Which makes less sense than a chicken to pluck.
That's also true.
I do like how this turned into Family Feud for a second. Like, oh, good answer.
Yeah, sorry I'm not doing the Steve Harvey wide eyes. All right. Okay, another Scandinavian, Norwegian. There are owls in the moss. This might be my favorite.
We said like wolves in sheep's clothing, or like there's danger on the horizon.
Danger afoot. We thought this might be we like the owls over there, and we thought the grass might be greener.
Both good guesses. Again, Ken, correct. It's something's not right. There's something amiss. Wolf in sheep's clothing.
Mm-hmm. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Exactly.
Another phrase we say all the time.
Oh yeah, you guys get the Shakespeare, but not the Soviet Plath, and I'm the. All right. Number 8, correct? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Gold coins, 2 cats.
We said pearls before swine. Because what's a cat going to do with a gold coin?
And we said wish upon a star.
Again, Ken and Jeff, cast pearls before swine is correct. What is a cat going to do with gold coins?
Unless you're Meowth.
Or Persian.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Or whatever nonsense pre-post form Matt wants to talk about that doesn't exist outside that.
Exactly.
I thought this had to do with those cats that their arms waving and you have to put coins in their mouth. That's what I thought it was about. Maybe I'm wrong.
You are.
Survey says.
All right. Number 9. To leave the church and the village.
We said on to greener pastures or off to greener pastures. Off or on?
We thought this was about letting those puppies snooze. We said, let sleeping dogs lie.
Both good guesses. No points here. It means to not get carried away, not let things go too far. Finally, number 10, Turkish, the dogs bark and the caravan goes on.
We had a couple answers for this one.
Ken prefers it in the beautiful French.
C'est la vie, or as my one of my favorite authors would say, so it goes, or as I would say, it happens.
Yeah, we were kind of talking along the same lines of the inevitability of what may come, and so we just went with time marches on.
Yeah, so I think points both teams here. The Vonnegut quote, so it goes, happens. Haters gonna hate, whatever you want to call it.
YOLO,
YOLO swag, chill, anything like that. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm a big fan of idioms. I think it's funny how some of them translate and some of them don't. One of my favorites that I couldn't include because it's not quite an idiom, but the German for tramp stamp is ass antlers, which you can cut out of the envelope.
I am not cutting it out. I will leave it in. And maybe we should have Nate on a bonus episode, and he can haul out a whole bunch of those for us. Does that sound good to you?
Sounds awesome. I would love it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that swing round. So that was great.
Cool. Awesome.
All right. So after that swing round, it looks like Pretty Fly still in second position with 80 points, and wrenching back those points and that lead from Pretty Fly is Doink the Clown, putting you in a sleeper hold or whatever Doink does. 105.
He's got the spraying water flower of death or something, right?
Something. Matt, what's the signature move? I know he duplicated himself.
Yeah, that was his power. Mostly, I think he did a pile driver because that was the go-to move. Not very clown related. Disappointing.
All right, Nate. Round two.
Round two coming at you. We're going to start with the few, the proud, the Marines. Question 11. While Paris Island is most well known as a location for Marine boot camp, only about 50% of Marines undergo training there. The other half are trained in a recruit depot in this city. For 2 bonus points, what is the nickname given to Marines that graduate from this location?
All right, I have a hunch on this one. I don't know where it's coming from, and it may not be at all correct, but we're locked in.
Okay, so I'm not a Marine. I am not one of the few or proud. I guess I'm proud. But
you're definitely one of the few.
That is true. Do you have any ideas here?
I don't know any Marine bases. I know that in some branch of the military, new recruits are sometimes called grunts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that could be that, but as far as the city goes, I've got nothing.
My first everything I know about Marines I learned from that commercial where the knight turns into a Marine after he beats the dragon, which made me want to be a Marine when I was a child.
It was 3 doors down in that commercial.
It might have been Hoobastank. I do think that there is there's a lot of Navy. There's a lot of naval training grounds. I know in Annapolis, Maryland, out here, but I think that the Marines were out in San Diego, and my thought is that they might be Chargers, and I think that's where the football team got its name.
Yeah. I went to college in Southern California, and I remember a couple times doing Marine mammal stuff. That there's that Marine base down there and the Coast Guard base, and I like that answer.
Very well thought out. Mine was not nearly as well thought out, but for some reason, San Diego was just jumping out at me, and we don't really have a good nickname, so we just said the Boot Boys. I don't know.
Boot Boys.
So, Matt, I know exactly the commercial you're talking about. I'd imagine a lot of people do. And it always terrified me seeing that commercial.
Oh, you did want to fight the dragons.
At the very end, he flips his sword up right next to his face, but he's so precise that he doesn't hit it. And I had nightmares that I would do it and hit
I know the one.
cut myself in the face. Anyway, little bit less morbid. Both of you guys are correct. The answer is San Diego, but no one got the bonus. The bonus is Hollywood Marines, which is sometimes considered a derisive, teasing nickname because Paris.
I'm glad we didn't say it then.
Yeah.
As if you get a choice where you end up for boot camp.
Yeah. Oh no, Southern California, how rough.
Yeah, I know. What a terrible situation. Although you're still in Marine boot camp, so.
That's true.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
All right. Question 12. Mercedes-Benz was the last song recorded by this woman before her untimely death in 1970.
Okay. Untimely death, 1970. Who are we thinking?
I'm having trouble just coming up with artists from back in that day.
1970. 1970. It's usually a blank spot for me. I'm trying to think of women from the era, and you were saying you're kind of struggling to come up with anyone from there as well, right?
Yeah.
One of the songs that comes on our playlist at the Conglomerate from time to time is this Joan Baez song that I hate. And I don't know if she's still alive, but if she's not, R.I.P. Mercedes-Benz isn't the song, but I think we're gonna lock in with Joan Baez.
Oh, Ken, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz? We said Janis Joplin. I'm pretty sure she passed away in 1970.
So one team getting points here. The answer is Janis Joplin recorded Mercedes-Benz just 2 days before her death.
When I Googled Joan Baez and it says is instead of was, I know that I'm wrong.
I was like, I think she's still alive.
I was pretty sure.
All right. Question 13. This stand-up comedian specials include It's Bad For Ya, Life Is Worth Losing, and You Are All Diseased.
All right, we have a guess of a comedian with an attitude because that's what it sounds like.
Oh, someone with an attitude. Does that ring any bells, Peter?
Yeah, I was thinking of somebody that is going to be a little less lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
Good thing there's not a lot of comedians with an attitude, right?
Could be anybody. You're right.
Yeah. Well, they can't even tell jokes anymore.
Yeah, the woke mafia. I think this guy spent some time at the Shining Time station, if that helps at all. I think this is George Carlin.
Oh, yeah. Well, that would definitely got the attitude.
And
I like that.
And we went a different way. We went with Dennis Leary.
Okay, and again, one team getting points. It is the legendary George Carlin.
Well, Ken, get ready for 7 things you can't say on a podcast.
Not the legendary Dennis Leary.
No, probably I wouldn't say legendary. Maybe the Bill Hicks joke stealer, Dennis Leary.
Top 50% Dennis Leary.
Yeah, there you go. Right. All right, question 14. This device, now manufactured on a nanometer scale, is the fundamental building block of modern electronics. In its most simplest terms, it is a switch.
They have a guess? Do we have a guess?
Maybe. I was kind of thinking back to college physics, which it's been a minute now. Words like capacitor and resistor come to mind.
Yeah, I think that's in the right level. Basically, it's something that's either on or off that moves it down, which I think these are conductors. I think that's what moves the electricity. It either moves it to the next one or doesn't move it based on if it's on or off.
You've been rewiring some stuff there, Matt?
Can't afford to pay anyone to do it, so I'm doing my own electricity now.
All right, be careful.
I use gloves. It's fine. So what do you think about conductor and semiconductor? I think those are...
I like semiconductor more than conductor just because conductor's a more vague term for...
and I'm thinking back to George Carlin on the trains, I think.
Anything that can carry current, can conduct heat. And
Yeah. I agree. I think semiconductor is a good one. I think we'll lock in with that.
Yeah.
We're just saying a microchip.
All right. Technically, this is both a microchip and a semiconductor, so I guess I'll give an opportunity to be more specific. But if not,
no thanks.
All right. So this is a transistor. It's the building block of, most modern microchips and semiconductors, billions upon trillions of levels, very small switches that send ones and zeros along to produce microprocessors and other devices.
All right. And Matt, I just want to give you credit for the conductor joke. That was very funny. I don't feel like you got enough of a laugh, so I'm giving you props for that one. I'm sure they were laughing in their vans and in their homes.
They're laughing. People
that happens so much where Matt
store.
just says a joke that we talk over, and then I hear it after the edit before we publish, and I'm like, that is so underrated.
Matt, you're a genius.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, let's get on to question 5.
Yeah. Question 5. This Russian author burned the only copy of his final manuscript and died a week later of self-starvation.
All right. I actually have a hunch on this one, so we're going to lock in.
My knowledge of Russian authors is very limited. Let's see where yours is at.
The only one that came to mind would be a playwright, Chekhov, but
yeah.
I
think he introduced his final manuscript in the first act, right? Is that how that works? I think I had who did War and Peace? Wasn't he Russian? Was that Tchaikovsky? I always say it wrong.
Tchaikovsky was a composer. Tolstoy?
Yeah, Tolstoy.
Oh, I like that.
He's Russian, right?
Sounds like it.
He sounds pretty Russian. We're gonna go Tolstoy.
Yeah, Matt. So I think you pulled a reverse count on that one because I talked Jeff out of the Simpsons quote earlier, and I think you talked Peter out of this one. I think we're going to go with Chekhov.
All right, both very famous Russian authors, playwrights, novelists, but this is Nikolai Gogol.
Oh. The equally famous Gogol.
Yes. Gogol.com.
You got to find Bordello.
Yeah.
If I recall.
Yeah, actually, I think that's what it's named after, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, tabulating the points for the first 5 questions of round 2. It looks like Pretty Fly is up to 100. Hot on the tails of Doink the Clown. Doink, 125.
We got you right where we want you.
All right. Question 6. A video game called Zero Wing gave us this meme, a poor translation from the Japanese.
Yep.
Finally.
Is this in your wheelhouse,
Perfect.
Ken?
No, Ken has been waiting for this question for 7 years.
Perfect question.
It comes up a lot. Peter,
in
do you know
meme
it?
culture.
I don't know this.
I think that all of your base are belong to us, I believe is the meme, and I think it's from that. So all your base are belong to us.
Yes, all your base are belong to us.
The answer is all your base are belong to us.
I think if you were active on the internet in 2005, this is something that's very familiar to you, and if you weren't, you have no idea what.
I'm pretty sure it was like a cheat code in a video game I played.
Yeah,
like
it was in Warcraft.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was made you invincible or whatever.
Yes, I believe so.
That could be it.
Maybe StarCraft.
Oh yeah.
All right, question 7. We're going to geography. The Bay of Fundy lies between these 2 Canadian provinces.
All right, we are locked in on this one thanks to my geography knowledge. Just kidding. It was Jeff.
Yeah. Canadian provinces. I'm closer to them now than I've ever been, but I still don't know anything about them. What are some initial thoughts?
I'm trying to think of what the East Coast ones are. I'm assuming this is probably south from, what's the big one? Hudson Bay.
Mm-hmm. If it's on the East Coast, we could be looking at, I believe, Labrador is the one.
Mm-hmm.
And then Newfoundland is also in that corner area. So if it's like in that, and that's the bay, it's like the north part of the Hudson or whatever in that area. Those would be the two that I would think.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I know that they're both over there, so.
Okay. So we'll go with Labrador and Newfoundland.
We're going to go with Quebec and Nova Scotia.
Okay, the answer here is Nova Scotia and New Brunswick.
Oh. I say this every time. We're going to learn Canadian.
We're going to learn Canadian one of these days.
But it's not today.
Get ready to learn Canadian. Question 8. William de Kooning and Jackson Pollock and Joan Mitchell were leading figures in this two-word art movement.
So I don't know this, Jeff. You don't have an idea? Let's say deep abstractionism.
That sounds good. So as far as these artists, Jackson Pollock, I know he did a lot of like spray and abstract art.
Yeah, throw
there was some
paint at the
spray, all
canvas.
right.
It was a lot of just take the can and throw it at the canvas, I believe, is the main style. But I don't know what it's called. It's probably an abstract something or something abstract.
Yeah, that's literally the only word I wrote down.
Dang. An abstract.
Abstract.
Super abstract.
64. I played that, I think.
Yeah, and as far as just two-word art terms, I don't even, I also wrote down the word Art Nouveau, but I don't. It's just because it's two words, not because I know what it means.
Yeah, I think we could be looking at like neo-abstract or abstract impressionist. I think it's like one of those hodgepodge of nonsense words. Do you want to go with neo-abstract?
Yeah, I do.
That sounds good.
In the Matrix.
Sounds good for sure.
Neo-modernism? Who knows? These all could be real or fake.
What do we have there, Nate?
Yeah, so the answer, you guys were getting very close, circling around it. The answer is abstract expressionism.
Oh, expressionism. The caravan moves on.
Exactly.
When the dogs bark.
All right. Let's see if we can get some points here. I'm starting to feel bad. My questions aren't that great. Question.
Oh, no. Just because we're not getting it right doesn't mean it's not a good question.
Don't judge the quality of the questions on whether we know things.
On our get rate. Yeah, that's not... That's the wrong way to do it.
All right. Question 9. Barry Gibb, among others, was famous for this type of untrue high voice singing.
Yeah, looking.
All right. So, do you know who Barry Gibb is?
I do, and I'm thinking is falsetto.
That is what I thought, because I know that falsetto is a thing, meaning like it's not as high or whatever they're trying to go for. So I like falsetto.
All right, let's go for it.
And we're going to go with falsetto as well.
And the answer is falsetto. Well done. All right. Final question. We're going back to math.
Why?
Henri Poincaré pioneered this math branch that studied the deformation of objects into new shapes without cutting or pasting.
So I love the Poincaré conjecture, of course.
All right, me and Jeff agree on this answer, so we're locked in.
Okay, so they're locked in. Henri Picard, my favorite Star Trek captain. I don't know anything about this math at all. Do you have any idea?
No, not really. Trying to think back to the classes took growing up that I've completely forgotten now, and just, I mean, I'm not getting past anything more sophisticated than trigonometry, calculus, those kind of broad.
Anything you're dealing with shapes. It's not. Yeah. It's maybe some kind of geometry. Trigonometry deals with mostly triangles. maybe calculus. I don't know. You want to go calculus?
Sure.
You got it.
If I'm not mistaken, this is one of my favorite fields of party discussion. I like to tell people that I believe T-shirts have 3 holes, and just see what happens. And we said topography. I'm very fun at parties, Ken.
I know.
Yeah, so Jeff, you are correct. The answer is topography.
Oh, I thought you were going to say I was correct that a T-shirt has 3 holes. But
And also that.
All right, we are at the end of the second round, and that means it's almost time for the final. But first, a score update. We have 155 over at Doink the Clown, and Pretty Fly for a Fisher guy, 120. So, as we like to say, it's still anybody's game. Before we get on to the final round, just want to remind everybody about our Patreon, where you can donate up to $55, right, Jeff? Or even 14
I would take 14
or 14 a month.
27 half.
27 half is also an option. We are, of course, referencing old YouTube videos. So if you're over, or I guess under the age of, what'd you say, 30?
Yeah.
You probably have no idea what we're talking about.
We sound even crazier than normal.
But there's got to be one person out there who really likes what we're doing and wants to donate because of that stupid reference. But please do consider, at $1, you can cut out this nonsense. This very ad will be cut out, as are all ads.
And all programmatic ads.
That's correct.
Yeah.
No ads at $1.
That is literal minutes of your life, every episode you get back.
Yeah, this specific minute. More importantly, at $5, you can actually get all of our bonus content, including our crop drops, weekly trivia bonuses, and anything else in the backlog. It's days and days of material that you can listen to. And above that, we have other tiers. We'll send you a character box, our special Triviality box, posters, stickers, other great stuff. So make sure you check out our Patreon at
patreon.com/trivialitypodcast. I forgot to mention, you can even get the episodes early, because often I'll post the early ones to Patreon. So
it just keeps on coming.
All right, guys, I just got back from watching Eastern Promises.
Oh, Neil, welcome back.
Popped in.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm naked, but I had
That's how you watch it.
That's how you have to watch it that way.
You're a big Cronenberg fan. That's how you watch the Cronenberg movies.
That's right. I got a tattoo. I was hanging brain in the bathroom with some other Russians, and decided to come back to enjoy the festivities. So we're going to throw it back to Nate, though, because we have to hear what the final round categories are to see what these folks are going to be wagering on.
All right, so the final round categories are inventions and discoveries, geography, literature and books, science and space, and movies.
All right, all the wagers are now locked in, so let's go ahead and get those questions.
All right, question 1 in inventions and discoveries. Combining silicone oil and boric acid creates this bouncy moldable material, first sold in 1949. Number 2, geography. About 400 miles west of Moscow sits this other capital city that starts with an M. Number 3, literature and books. In the Harry Potter series, what position does Harry play on his Quidditch team? Number 4, science and space. In July 2015, one of these, said to contain 5.4 trillion in precious metals, passed within 1.5 million miles of Earth. And number 5, in movies. In this movie, The Matrix, what is Neo's real name?
Ken, we were just talking about this. This is so good.
Sweet. Love it. All right. Those are the questions, and we'll be right back and see who will be today's cream of the crop.
When I found out I was going to be a parent, I immediately felt a lot of anxiety and worry. So I went on to BetterHelp to try to look for a therapist to help me with that.
My relationship with my family and with my boyfriend and with myself were suffering. I really needed help.
I was ruminating a lot. Really getting those thoughts out to a therapist and getting feedback was just life-changing.
If you're thinking of trying therapy, learn more at BetterHelp. That's betterhelp.com.
At Sierra, you'll always find apparel, footwear, and gear for 20 to 60% less than department and specialty store prices. But right now, it's clearance time, so you can save even more on everything you need to get active and outside. Visit your local Sierra store today.
We are back, and we have the answers to the final questions, hopefully. So let's go ahead and get those one more time and find out who will take the prize today. And the prize is nothing.
All right. Question 1, inventions and discoveries. Combining silicone oil and boric acid creates this bouncy, moldable material first sold as this in 1949.
Well, there's a lot of fun materials that you can mold and play with, but the one that bounces is silly putty.
And we agree. We wagered 20 on this one, silly putty.
And we did 30.
Yeah, the correct answer is silly putty. Okay, question 2, geography. I think this gave you guys a little bit of an issue to start. About 400 miles west of Moscow sits this other capital city that starts with M.
Yep, wagered 30 on this one. We believe this is the capital of Belarus. We said Minsk.
Oh, that one's much closer than the capital we went with all the way down in Spain, all the way over. We said Madrid.
Yeah, Matt, I heard you guys saying Milan, but you should have taken an adventure from Milan to Minsk. You would have had it.
It sounds like a fun adventure. You're right. I should do that.
Rochelle.
Number 3, literature and books. In the Harry Potter series, what position does Harry play on his Quidditch team?
Well, Jeff wrote 10 as the wager here because he doesn't realize I work in a library. But we said seeker.
We wagered 10 because I didn't realize it'd be a Harry Potter question. And I know this one. It's a seeker.
Yeah, correct all around. It is the seeker. All right, question 4, science and space. In July 2015, one of these said to be containing 5.4 trillion in precious metals passed within 1.5 million miles of Earth.
For 30 points, we said a comet.
And for 30 points, we said the other big space rock, an asteroid.
Yeah, and the correct answer is asteroid. And finally, question 5, movies. In the movie The Matrix, what is Neo's real name?
For 30 big points, well, his real name is Neo, as he tells Agent Smith on the train tracks, but his name in The Matrix is Thomas A. Anderson.
Yeah, we wagered 10. I knew his name was Mr. Anderson. I couldn't come up with the first name, but you said Jeopardy rules apply, so we said Anderson.
Yeah, and I did say we're going with Jeopardy rules, so last name does get a correct answer. It is Thomas Anderson. Apparently, I'm going to take Ken's word for it with A as the middle initial that appears on the passport. So
you could take that to the bank.
Take it to the bank.
The
Correct.
blood bank.
Anderson.
And that's the game. Pretty fly for a Fisher guy with 170 points. Finished the game, but in the lead, putting in the sleeper hold or the suplex or whatever, is Doink the Clown, the scariest wrestler of all time, 225. Doink the Clown is the cream of the crop.
Cream of the crop.
Ever think you would hear that being said on this podcast, Matt?
No, but I definitely agree. Doink the Clown, cream of the crop.
Neil, what do you think?
I do like that you talked about Doink the Clown because I believe his finishing move was the stump puller. So you pulled a lot of stumps.
Puller.
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
It does sound awful. That's something they used to do back in the 70s before it was regulated. But
you know what did not sound awful today?
Mm-hmm.
Today's questions.
Oh.
Thanks, Nate, for bringing those together. We appreciate it.
Anytime, guys. It's always a pleasure to be here and hang out.
Thanks. Any other final shout-outs for you today?
Yeah, no, just I mean, I hate tooting your guys' horn because you're full of yourself as much as it is, but you guys
yeah, right.
Great show here. I just love joining and honestly loving the new episodes you guys are putting together on the Patreon because sometimes I can't wait the full week and I like having the extra episode to listen to and it's it's nice added content.
There we go. We're glad those are coming through for you. And Peter, a great competitor today. Any final shout-outs from you?
Just shout out to my wife, Diana, who turned on this podcast on a whim on a long drive a couple years ago.
Hey, thank you, Diana.
Yeah, and here we are. It was a lot of fun playing with you guys, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, please come back anytime. Well, not anytime, make an appointment, but we'll be
We're not always here.
Yeah,
contrary to popular belief.
And our last thank you goes out to Airwave Media. You can find them at airwavemedia.com. Check out other great podcasts such as, how about Face Off, the U.S. versus China? And I believe Nick Cage plays China, John Travolta plays the U.S.,
Yep.
And then they switch in the middle. And then, of course, there's IGN Movies. And Most Notorious. How about that?
Oh, that sounds really good.
So that'll be the show for today. Thank you guys for tuning in for our guests today, and Matt and Jeff and kind of Neil, who jumped in at the last minute there. My name is Ken, and that was Triviality.